Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Early Stoppage MMA, where today we're going to talk about the fighters who need to lock in 2025. So, to start off with, Jalen Turner. Come on, man. Get it together. This dude is at risk of losing his ability to break through the lightweight top 10. I mean, he's been hovering around it forever, and if he wants to be a top contender, he needs to lock in and win his next two fights, probably at least. Because I imagine he'll be fighting down the rankings. He's starting to lose fan support after that Moicano performance where he tried to get the walk-off KO and then kind of got smoked and embarrassed by a dude who was rocked. That was tough. So he needs to bounce back from that and show a dominant performance, live up to his 100% finish rate that's kind of carrying him at this point and making him an exciting topic of conversation around lightweight as far as contendership is concerned. And, it's also a weird situation because it's not like he could just move up to lightweight because his frame and everything is what makes him so good at lightweight. You know what I mean? Move up to welterweight, excuse me.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Moving up to welterweight would be practically useless for this guy. I don't know who I would pick him to beat at welterweight. He's a guy that I would think would be a perfect 165 or maybe, in my opinion. But clearly we're not getting that. The fight with Moicano was crazy, right? That should have been a win and another finish for Turner. But, he's trying to get the check. Didn't happen.
It's true. I mean, the
And
circumstances of having the $300,000 bonuses.
yeah, yeah. No, I think everyone was looking for it there.
Yeah,
So
you
I,
know,
I, I understand it that way, right? But uh, still, you need to win the fight, and then to end up losing that fight is even crazier. And in my opinion, honestly, this guy is not going to do anything even when he gets to the top 10. I think he will probably win his next two fights against some unranked guys, but I just don't see him fighting up and winning much anymore.
I agree. I still think somebody like Dan Hooker, especially as good as he's looked, if they ran that fight back, I think it would be a far more definitive and clear win for like Dan Hooker this time around.
100%. Yeah.
So, all right, well, moving on.
No, no. Yeah. No, I went a little bit of a different route here in terms of locking in. Like Dominic Reyes had a great 2024, right? And he's ranked 11 currently, has two impressive wins, and I think we might be starting to get the return of him. He beat down Anthony Smith, beat Justin Jacoby. The issue I have with him is that he's 1 to 2 fights away from a title shot, but they're tough fights, right? Like a Khalil Roundtree versus Dominic Reyes is a fantastic fight, but not an easy fight for either guy. I he needs to lock in, and truly, he is 1 or 2 fights away from getting the title shot.
I completely agree. I think that Dominic Reyes is in a great position to actually become a contender, especially with how shallow light heavyweight is. Like, I think Dominic Reyes could have very competitive fights with people like Khalil Roundtree or Nikita Krylov. You know,
Oh yeah,
fighters like that in the division. I think Dominic Reyes could very well get back to a top five position just with the way he's looked. And it does seem like his chin's kind of come around again from what we've seen
yep,
because he's taken some pretty big shots in his last few fights and he's been fine.
yeah. No, I definitely want to see him in there with a guy that is in the top 10 now, like I said, a Roundtree or maybe even a Rocket. I think that would be a really sick fight.
Oh, that would.
And so he's 14-4, ranked number 11, and he had the insanely controversial decision with John Jones. I'm kind of I'm here for it, and I truly believe that a big win over a guy like Roundtree or Rockets, he might be next for the belt. 205 is not deep.
It's true. I mean, especially just the narrative around it, like the guy who arguably beat John Jones. You know, I think it makes sense to put him up there with the big boys. He's entertaining. People love him. Yeah, it's a no brainer to like put him up there. So hopefully Reyes can use his skills to get back there.
I think it will. I think 2025 is the return.
I agree. Hopefully, we can only hope.
True.
All right. So for my next one, I'm going Steve Erceg. Um, as we know, Steve Erceg got KO'd in his last fight by Kai Kara France. Uh, honestly, not that bad of a loss. He got caught. It happens. Kai Kara France looked great in that fight. I don't think anybody's really all that upset. But I will say it definitely derailed kind of his hype and his stock after that really close fight with Pantoja, getting knocked out right after, is tough. So he definitely needs to win his next fight to just reassert himself as a top flyweight. Because frankly, him being ranked at what 9 is just criminal. He definitely is better than that. He's top 5 material. Um, Maybe that's Cope. I don't know, but he doesn't quite have the name value or personality as the others to carry him too. So that's probably preventing him from being up there with the people like Manel Cap or Brandon Royval. So yeah, he really needs to have a good fight that asserts how entertaining he is and how skillful he is to put him back up there.
Oh, 100%. I was the number one supporter of this guy. Picked him to beat Pantoja, and I mean, a controversial decision. I do think he lost, right? I think that fifth round killed him in that fight, and I think he knows that as well. So he he gets caught by Kaikara France, and you're right. His personality is not like a Manel Cop or anything. He's not a big mouth guy. He shows up in fights. He doesn't do mic. He doesn't do a great mic presence.
I really think
He's
that he's got the perfect personality to be like a kind of like a Wonder Boy, where he's just like or Chase Hooper, where he's just this nice sort of innocent,
yeah,
respectful dude that is just an absolute killer in the division, and people
he
love
is.
that.
He
You
is
know what I
right.
mean? So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
no, getting caught by Kaikara France is not even the worst thing, to be honest with you. They're giving him kind of a layup fight, in my opinion. I think this guy's gonna beat him, and I think he's gonna move up, and we might get a fight between him and Tatsuro Taira. We might get some crazy fights that are good fights at flyweight,
yeah.
and I really think that if he fights Pantoja again, he might have the best chance of beating him.
Oh yeah. I agree. I Of my choices, I think Steve Verseg is most likely to lock in. I think he's the most likely to pull it together, and he's so young. I really don't have any doubts that this dude will be back.
Oh yeah, no, he will 100% be back. I have no doubt.
All right, let's move on.
Let's go. Lerone Murphy. I'm a UK MMA fan, right? Leon, I'm ride or die for. You know, Larode even. I'm into this. He's undefeated. He's 33, and he's fighting down in the rankings multiple times in a row now as an undefeated fighter. Right? 5 of his 7 wins in the UFC are by decision. One is split. He has 2 finishes against guys that I've never even heard of. And flyweight or featherweight is crazy tough. That top 10 of featherweight is insane. His resume is working against him. He has nothing adding up as a 33-year-old undefeated guy. Most of the time, you're already top 5 or have a belt. He fought Dan Ige, and that it's impressive. It's impressive, but it's fighting down. I need some more out of him this year for sure.
I agree. I think that Lerone Murphy has a lot of potential, but he needs to live up to that potential, and he has to do it incredibly fast. And I think he has to do it more dominantly because it's not like his last few wins have been these crazy knockout performances that are super dominant. They're just all decision wins that are like kind of forgettable. Um,
Yeah.
and I think he needs that wow performance. He needs that wow factor. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for him to get opportunities to get to the belt without just feeling kind of ham shoot in. You know what I mean?
Sure. Right. So I mean, his last 2 fights are Edson Barboza and Dan Ige, and brought both to a decision. Which I mean, those are not easy guys to finish. Those are some of the toughest guys at 145. So that's understandable. But a lot of guys that nobody's ever heard of that he fought were all decisions. Right. And featherweight is not the division to be a decision fighter in. These guys are killers there. I mean, he's ranked number 11 right now, and Calvin Cater's ranked number 10. And I would pick Lerone Murphy to beat Calvin Cater. I really would. But then you start getting into guys like Aljo, Josh Emmett, Arnold Allen. Some of these guys that would be crazy fun fights, but I might be leaning away from Lerone in those fights.
Yeah, I agree.
So he definitely needs to lock in. And I still have hope. And I know that he has the skills and abilities to finish these fights and do it. I wonder if maybe he's playing it too safe. I'm not too sure, but we're gonna see in 2025. He should fight up next, and so he's gonna get challenged. And I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it, and I believe that he's ready for it, and it's gonna be sick.
Yeah, Lerone Murphy, Make it happen, man. Get to it.
Lock
You're
in.
undefeated. Live up to the hype.
So true.
All right, moving on. My boy. My boy. Tai
Oh no.
Tuivasa. He what is there to say? I mean, the dude is on the verge of being cut. He's lost so many fights. Granted, they've all been against pretty good competition as far as heavyweight is concerned. But still, you can't keep losing and just dropping down the ranks so dramatically in these pretty one-sided beatdowns. Um, he's got to get another win. But it's possible because it's heavyweight, and Tai Tuivasa is a demolition artist. You know, with the right contender series bum, this dude can get himself back on the map. We can get one more shoey and have at least a lot of fun for his final like send off and fight.
Yeah. No, 100%. This guy's fought the who's who at heavyweight currently. Right. He's gone through Gon, Pavlovich, Volkov, Tybura, Rosenstruck. Those are his last 5 fights. And none of those are easy fights. And for a guy like Tai Tuivasa, he needs to be in there for some fun fights, right? Like he fought Derek Lewis and that was sick. We were all ready for that. Finished him. The matchmaking on this is crazy. I don't know if they were trying to push him towards a belt maybe, but we just need to keep him in arenas and give him fun fights, right? We know his ground game's not good. We don't need to see it tested anymore. Give us what we want. Let him go out there, fight some contender series guys. Give us some shoeys. Why is this guy not on 312?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what more there is to say or what more there is to add. Tai Tuivasa, this one I'm begging him, please lock in, please.
Please do it, Ty. We know you can.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Yeah. No, I picked a heavyweight also here. Sergey Pavlovich. He's currently ranked over 4. So you could debate, like, oh, this guy is locked in. Top 5. Heavyweight's not strong, though. 18-3, coming off 2 losses. The one to Aspinall has aged incredibly, right? I think we're all understanding now of how good Tom Aspinall is. And so we're seeing that. But at the time, I picked Pavlovich to win that. This guy was supposed to be the killer, right? Nobody wanted to fight this guy. Tom Aspinall took that fight on short notice, went out there and knocked him out. That aged well. That's fine. The fight to Volkov this year, a fight against Volkov this year, was kind of tough to watch. This is another fight that I picked Pavlovich to win. I didn't think that Volkov would look that good. And I think that might have been one of the best Volkovs that we've seen. His resume is great. He's fought all the top guys. And ranked at number 4, he's 1 to 2 fights away from an Aspinall rematch. You know, and it's heavyweight, anything could happen. He's signed now to fight Rosenstruck in February, I believe. It's a sick fight. I'm ready for it. Probably not going to get him the Aspinall rematch. He'll probably need one more.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. It's interesting too because like this dude he looked like such a killer on the way up before that Aspinall fight and afterwards. Not to say that he looks necessarily bad, but like you watch training footage of him and the dude is like 50% slower than he used to be, just running pads and stuff. It's very interesting what sort of it looks like. So I don't know if there has been a physical decline. I don't know if he got messed up by the Aspinall fight. We'll see one way or another, but I do still think I would pick him to beat, most of the people below him in the rankings at the very least.
No doubt. Yeah. And he's still young, man. He's only 32. At heavyweight, that's this is his prime. And I think that we're going to see a resurgence out of him in 2025. I think we're going to get a good performance out of Rosenstruck, and then we're going to have to get, another top matchup. Maybe Cyril Gane, maybe a Volkov, We're going to see how it goes. With the decision between Cyril Gane and Volkov, that kind of skewed the rankings a little bit. We're all kind of interested to see how it's going to go. But I think he's going to lock in 2025.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope that he does, and I'm excited for Sergey Pavlovich because his fights are always very entertaining, at the very least.
Oh yeah, no, I'm always ready for it. He gets the nerves pumping. That is not a nice looking guy.
No, it's not. Oh,
yeah, no.
man.
Every time this guy walks in, I'm it's violence.
It's true. He brings it, and we need him to bring it again. So
I think he will. 2025 is going to be the resurgence, and I think we're going to see him fight for a title at the end of this year and next year, beginning next year.
Whoa, you heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah. I think he's on his way up.
All right.
Back up.
Back up. Well, that's all we have for the video today. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Leave your comments and your picks down below. Criticize ours, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.